ProfessionalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a morning edition. Nighttime for most of you there. Morning edition for me. I've got my coffee here and the camera. If I could do this during the day, I think I could do this every day. I definitely hate the time zone issues here. Everything else is great, but the time zone could be better. Wow. Cotter's here. Hello, Cotter. I think you're the only person here. It actually says there's 0 viewers, so you may be a ghost. Yeah, so there's a bunch I want to talk about. It's exciting, but at the same time, it's kind of, I don't know how to put it. It's exciting, but I've been saying the same thing since the bottom. Like, at any point have I said, sell all of your spot longs or any of those things? I don't think so. Now, at one point, I was hedged. I had a bunch of hedges just in case we went down. We didn't. I got stopped out, and now we're going higher, and I'm riding my longs. Now, do I wish I was leveraged at like 20x or something? Yeah, of course. I'm not, but that's fine because I have a lot of spot longs, and I'm enjoying the show. And I'm enjoying this show also, but I'm more so enjoying the crypto show. Hopefully everybody's doing well. West Water Resources. Okay, I don't know. Welcome morning from Pakistan. Oh, okay, glad you like the time. Hit the like. Wow, I get people saying they hit the like. So, you know, this is just a continuation of what we've been waiting for. And now the Genius Act has been passed. So that's going to unlock like almost 9 trillion in liquidity, which I talked about before, right? So if you didn't read the Arthur Hayes article, go back, read it. And then even if you don't understand it, put it in ChatGPT, make a summary. Maybe I'll even do that and I'll post it in my Julian Trades room. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to shrink myself and we're going to get into where I expect us to go next. Because believe it or not, like we have a ways to go, but not as far as you think. There's 2 things that are possibly going to happen. So the one thing is it takes approximately 10 weeks for the public to catch on when everything starts to break out. We're in week 6/7. So more so week 6. We've got around 4 weeks, maybe at 5, maybe we go to 11 of this hyper up move. Okay. And then it's going to kind of chop. Maybe it just, and then the public is going to pay attention. Okay. And they're going to start going in. And then we're probably going to get some chop. And then it's going to be made available to 401ks. And that's when we're going to get that final blow off top. So when that happens, that's kind of when you want to exit, right? And we're waiting for that. Unfortunately, as sad as it is, the public always gets screwed over. It's kind of depressing in a way. I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, man, no wonder why 99% of people are broke. Because this system is created when, like, to make sure most people lose. And now it's gotten so good that they've figured out the best way to do it, such that little people have no chance. Like with AI coming, you've got like 2 years, in my opinion, to really make money. Like if you don't have assets, people like Cotter's fine. Cotter, you're fine. You are living the dream. People over the age of 50 that made smart decisions are fine. People under the age of maybe 35 and people who did not make smart decisions and still have to work, they're in trouble. A lot of them don't even realize it, but they're in big trouble. I don't know what the future is gonna look like. But I know based on looking at history for the human species, it's not gonna end with fairy tales and rainbows. It's not. It's gonna be explosion. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. The background is, it's pretty bright. Got my plant over here. I've got multiple plants. in the city, I put this curtain thing here so you can kind of see me better. Believe it or not, I have a bright light on my face just so you can see me. That's how much work. You should see all the stuff here. It takes forever to set this up. Okay, I'm going to shrink it and we're going to get into the market. That's what you guys care about. I just thought I would talk a little bit since my face is on the camera. I can move my hands around. Is that too big? I'm going to make it smaller. You guys let me know if that's too small and you want it to be bigger. It can be whatever size everyone votes on here. Okay. I'm not going to start with this. We're going to look at investor sentiment. Basically nothing. People seem chill, which is what you want. They're asleep. It's summertime, and we're getting a rally when no one's paying attention, which is hilarious. Let's go to, I always start with S&P, right? So S&P just hit all-time highs, and you can see here on a weekly chart, this was our breakout right here. So this was rally 1, this was consolidation, and then this is rally 2. Now, I am shocked a bit that we had a 9 here, and there was no pause, no pullback. That shocks me. This shows the power of printing massive amounts of money and just shoving it in. That's kind of what I think is happening here. And you guys have seen me talk about M2 all the time. We can touch on Bitcoin, right? We'll go to the daily chart. It looks better when I show it on Bitcoin, right? We also had a 9 come in on Bitcoin. And again, no pullback really. We tagged the 9 EMA. I talked about that last week. I said if you want to pull back and you want to buy, look for a 9 EMA tag. And that was what happened here. But you had like 5 minutes. I think not even 5 minutes. That's how crazy bullish this is. There's no stopping the train. If you're not long already, it's very hard to re-enter. It's very hard. I would like to see this calm down and come down to 112, but it might just continue right up to my target up here, 135, 140. Anyway, I wanted to show, let me go back to making my point. Where is my M2 money supply? And I want to break out the border. I'm going to get rid of all these economic. I had all these economic metrics. I'm going to get rid of them. Probably do a special at some point also. I want to show you guys all the altcoins and everything and different sectors. But really what you should be invested in right now is Bitcoin and the major altcoins. All right. Existing pin. No, I want to go pin scale, pin to new, right scale. Yeah, like that. Why is it not showing the right way? The hell? Pin to scale B. Yeah, okay, there we go. So let's just, I hate that this is working, but it's working. I want to modify this just a little bit. Offset right here. Let's fix the offset. It's at 82. I think that is a little bit too fast. We're never going to be accurate. It's going to be off within like a week or so, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just going straight up. I'm going to offset it by like 86 days. Actually, maybe let's do like 87 here. Yeah, that looks about more correct to me. So if this is where we are, then you get a bit of chop, but eventually you just move higher. And then we get a big pullback, right? But so far this pullback's only lasted like 2 weeks in September. This predicts it'll come in September, which is, typically when markets pull back. September and October are historically very bearish months. And you can see that here. So throughout the rest of the summer, we should just trend higher. Now, it's not going to be as aggressive as what just happened here, but you should get a progressive, slow move higher. The big move happened when people weren't paying attention. This was the big move. And it applies to the S&P 500 as well. So the whole, not the whole theory, but a lot of the theory is based on this. And you can see how well it works. Unfortunately, I wish it didn't work this well, but it does. Okay, so that was just to make my point and show how that also applies to the S&P. Weekly chart continues, no pullbacks, nothing. Do not short this unless you hate, if you hate money, you can short this, right? But I've said, don't short it, don't short it, don't short it. I did hedge it 2 weeks ago, I'm not gonna lie, because there was a weekly 9. This is a big, normally this works. Look, pull back. Here it went up one more week, pulled back. You've never had this at least paused, this pullback, this 2-week move higher and then pull back. So we're on week 3 now, and we're still pushing higher. This hasn't happened in a long time. Like almost always, there's some kind of pause or pullback. The only time it didn't was right here, right before the 2020 dump, right? So this was the one time it just kept going higher. But usually we like to, Brian always talks about, we're statisticians. So looking at the statistics, statistical move was to hedge, and it just keeps going up. Anyway, that already happened. So let's look at what's going on here. This is my uptrending channel, and these are my levels. So this is a 2.618 right here. We smashed through that. This is a 3.59, and this is your final 4.618. If I extend this out like that, right? Let's keep going while making sure we stay centered. I'm gonna save this. If we extend this out and we assume we're gonna stay within this range, but we will eventually reach this level, then we get to it at, what do you know, the end of summer. We tag it, maybe that's the soonest, but maybe we follow the midpoint line, and then maybe it's around mid-September. That's when we top out, and then we should reverse and pull back. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. I don't see any reason to be bearish yet. Now that we broke above that 9, we did have a daily 9. We had a consolidation, and now we're breaking out from that consolidation, and we can drop down to a lower time frame, and we can say, okay, now what's happening? And this is your range. So we'll take a conservative look at the range. This is a conservative range, and see where this points to. Points to 6,500. Now this is just the beginning of that range breakout. So the target is not as accurate. Once we get our first rejection point, that will give us more of an accurate 1.618 level, and that'll give us the extension targets. So if we if we go to the extreme, right? This is the high of the range, and this is the low of the range. Then we line up right here with this level. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they tag it to 66666. We've got 4 666s. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Maybe it's too obvious. But this is the biggest possible range, and this is the highest possible target all the way up here, which lines up with my target from a very long time ago. That's kind of what I am expecting here, and I'm looking for. So I'm not shorting until we get all the way up there. And if I do, it's a hedge or something very short term. This market still has a good, probably 5% or so to go higher. Yeah, Cleo, I can look at that. I mean, once they start to lower interest rates, historically TLT does move higher. It's just, when are they going to do that? And that's historically, and I think there have been some major changes. A lot of rocking of the boat. Trump's changing everything. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking with the S&P. I don't really have more feedback here. I wish I did. I don't like to give anything lower time frame than this, like 1 hour chart, because I want this information to be useful for at least the next 5 or 6 days. and I think discussing this it should be useful for a little while. And we can even, we can even do something so simple. I don't think this is really applies here, but you can also do this, right? And you can just say, okay, that's my target, and that's right there, 65. It's not far off from our high target. So that's all it is. It's that simple, and it would have worked so far, right? We bought down here, we rallied up here, we had our little reversal, we kept going. All you had to do was sit in longs while everyone had max fear down here with the tariff thing. Okay, that's all I'm seeing there. We're getting closer. We're closer to the end than we are to the beginning in a way. So hopefully you made some money here, but we're gonna go a bit higher. Okay, so that's the S&P. We can look at, wow, Solana at 180 already. Broke through my uptrending channel. We'll get to that. Do I really want to talk about stocks that much? I mean, so I always talk about Boeing, right? Boeing on a daily chart does have an 8 that came in, but historically under Republicans, Boeing has done very well. I talked about last week with the tariff deals that I think that there's going to be countries that make concessions with the US where they'll accept buying Boeing planes in exchange for lower tariffs. And I think some of those deals may go through, and Boeing's going to get a big boost from those. If this breaks out from this range, it could be a big deal. Now, I don't think Boeing is a great company. I'm going to start with that. I don't. There's probably way better investments. It's just something I watch because I have some money from when I worked there locked into a 401k. So this is one of the few things I can invest in. And so I'm looking at it. And this is a potential move here. Really more conservative would be here. You can kind of see how we tagged this and reversed a bit. So this is likely more accurate of a target. And you can see if we take the whole range, I bet that's a 78.6 or something up there. Yeah, so right up here, this 78.6, this is the sell level. So that makes perfect sense. It would just go back to where it was last time. Basically last time Trump was president, back here, right? So that's Boeing under Trump. And this is Boeing under Biden. That's all it kind of is. What do I want to talk about in the stock market? I mean, I always talk about Tesla, right? Everybody loves talking about Tesla. It's very popular. I'll talk about some names I'm pissed about that I didn't buy and I looked at. Yeah, so Tesla is kind of just in this consolidation range. This is like no man's zone for me here. This could go either way. I hate when a stock looks like this. This is just burning premium. So there's probably tons of calls and puts that were bought here because it's very popular with retail. And they're all just going to zero. That's all this is. It's just everything going to zero. As of right now, essentially no movement. A little bit outside here on the daily chart, but really no movement here. Gonna have to give it some more time. So not that excited about Tesla yet. Just burning premium, making sure people are bored, and then it'll probably move up after that. There'll be something that will happen and it'll skyrocket in a couple days. Kind of like basically exactly like what it did here, this 4-day period. You get something like that when you least expect it. Usually these consolidations take like 60 days in my experience. So for example here, how much was this? 45 days. This we've been going longer, right? So we're at 64 days. Maybe we go to 90 days. Okay, that's Tesla. I looked at, so this company, I can't remember if someone mentioned it, but I was looking at it before and I had my upside target of right here and it hit. And I don't know why I didn't buy this. Now, this is not useful for me to show you right now. It's already happened. Now, I could talk about the theory and all that stuff. Brian likes to do that. But I don't know. When I watch YouTubers talk about things, especially with trading, I don't like when they talk about stuff like they're kind of talking about things that happen already rather than talking about, things, possible investments. So I'm not going to go into detail with this, but you can see how something can rally, consolidate for basically a year, and then it rallies again. And it hit the target, and you can see how it reversed from the target, and now we're doing a second one, but we're putting in a divergence. That's how it happens. Rigetti Computing. You longed it? Rigetti Computing. This is another quantum stock. Yeah, so you would just do something like that, and it could go to 25. Yeah, I don't see why that can't happen. I was originally shorting these companies, so you can see IonQ and Qubits, same kind of thing. But I mentioned 2 weeks ago that it looked overly bullish, so I exited my short positions. But a lot of stuff I've read is that it's all kind of fabricated bullshit and not ready for any kind of commercial use. But maybe people see the future, and I could see some of these going under, though, and not being legitimate companies. But as of right now, still in an uptrend. So I exited my short. Yeah, you can see it moving up like that. All right, waiting for that breakdown. I'm going to set an alert. When it breaks down, I will short. But in the meantime, don't want to counter trade Cotter. That's a bad decision. Why is this not working? It's not working, adding my alert. Hello, Min. Welcome to the late night session. Or if you're in Asia, welcome to the morning session. Another one, UNH, I've talked about a couple times. I still like this, potentially, but it doesn't look good on a weekly chart here. It's breaking down. So I would wait for kind of like you can see a 7 potential divergence. That's big. I would wait for this to kind of reverse. So I'm gonna even set an alert here. So when this does reverse, I can. Damn, I can't set any alerts. Let me go to a different. Sorry, you guys saw me get pissed on the stream. Hopefully I don't get a flag for that. Maybe it works here. Sometimes certain tabs like don't work. Yeah, see, that works. All right, so when it crosses that, I'll get an alert. Until then, I don't want to add to my position. I have a position in this, but just a stock position. But you can see, why does this happen? Why does it drop or even moon? It could go down or it could go up very quickly, and then it just does nothing. Why is that? Why do you guys think that happens? Any opinion? Why does it happen? Hopefully my audio is loud enough. I know there were some complaints last time it wasn't loud enough. Lying, cheating, accounting thieves. I love when you're here, Cotter. It's a different show. It's like I'm not talking to myself. The obvious reason is because of options. In my opinion, it's options. So this happens, it gets a lot of news, people get excited, retail comes in, they buy tons of options here. They buy it here, and they go 30 to 60 days out. So what do the market makers do? They say, oh, let's just let it sit, and we will accumulate without moving the price and let those options all expire worthless. So we're at 41 days. We could go to another 60. In crypto, it's normally only 30 days. Sometimes 60 to 90 though. So we could go all the way out to here. 105, no, wait, like 90. Here, August, mid-August, before this thing finally does something. And that's why I set my RSI alert, because I'll just get an alert when it does do something. Very hard to predict the day. But once it happens, you don't have any time. You got 3-4 days. It'll move in those couple days. Maybe it even moves overnight. So that's why you have to have overnight trading. A lot of retail brokerage accounts like Robinhood and stuff, they don't let you trade in the after hours. But the people with the real money, for most stocks, they can buy them, sell them almost any time. Almost any time. And there's a reason for that. Again, it's all just remember you're playing this game, and it's not a fair game, and you are at a big disadvantage with a lot of different things, and you have to be aware of that. Yeah, yeah, sweep of the low, exactly. It'd be a nice. I agree. I could see that happening. So, and why am I bullish on this? Because people are getting older. There's a lot of old people, and people are also not having kids, right? So there's a 78.6 here. 88.6 is actually here. Maybe it goes below the low and you get your 239 entry. That would be great. I would definitely throw like 20 or 30K at it. I mean, or a large percentage of my portfolio, I would probably throw into this. I think it will come back, but I wouldn't do anything with options. All right, so that's one that's like been beaten down and I'm paying attention to and could be a nice long in the future. I don't want to be in that club right now. But what I do know from talking to older people and people, I don't know how old you are, Cotter, but talking to people like yourself with a family, with kids, a lot of them did very well, made a lot of money, but their kids are broke. And they're only going to be okay because mom and dad have money, but they're not making money themselves. Most kids are not making any kind of money. It's a disaster for them. Now, I don't know if it's because they're not motivated or because the economy's shit. It's a little bit of both, I think. Too much distractions in the world now. Like, think about 20 years ago, there's way less distractions. Now everyone's trying to get your attention everywhere, and you've got this thing. This is 1984, but worse, in your pocket. Like, they found a way to do 1984 without without it making it seem like 1984. This is it right here. Yeah, so your oldest kid works for you. So you're if the kid, I always think if a kid is working for under you, then you're just subsidizing the kid. Now you can disagree with me, but that's what it looks like to me. Because if the economy was great, he would go probably find a job somewhere else or start his own company or do something like that. And when someone stays working for within a family, I just never see it as I don't see it as a big positive thing. Like, I could have done that for my dad, but I wouldn't feel successful because I feel like I would just be taking from his success. And also I didn't think I would make that much, like, working for him as I could on my own. So it's just something I'm seeing with a lot of people that I talk to. And it's not a good thing. All right, I'm getting sidetracked. I don't think anybody cares about that, my viewpoint on certain things in society. But you can watch other YouTubers to get a more educated, maybe, viewpoint. It's just what I'm seeing. Do I want to talk about any other stocks? Okay, so I'm going to talk about one more that took off, and it's too late, and it pisses me off. But this one, Joby Aviation, I looked at this a while ago, and I originally thought it would take off here. Back in 2023, I looked at it. And you can see ABCD here, I originally drew, and it could have gone from here, and it went way beyond that. And I regret not taking along on this one. But this Joby Aviation relates to a flying car. It's basically a flying car company. And if you look it up, I think it kind of looks like a flying drone. So this is taking off and just going straight up. It hasn't had any pullbacks, so it's hard to kind of draw targets. But a conservative, like, this is a really clean W, right? So as soon as this broke, you can see it just went completely. As soon as this broke, right, it just boom, straight up. But you would have had to have caught that. You would have had to have set an alert and then, okay, I'm going to buy calls as soon as this happens. I don't know why I didn't look into this 2 weeks ago. Check it again, because I'd looked into this company. I'd looked into multiple flying car companies. This is where I'm kicking myself. But I've got my eye on this because I could see a pullback. you know, something like this, rejected down to the 30-day moving average, and then we move up here. So how much, what kind of return is that? We could still, you know, we could still make some money maybe. Oh, that's the wrong. Still 100% return. Could do very well. Yeah, outrage and eyeballs are today's currency. Yeah, that's true, Cotter. And I know people making a lot of money with that. And I have, Brian caught it. That's good for Brian. Yeah, Brian's better at Brian is better at catching this stuff than I am. Just that's I give him credit for that, but he doesn't size big enough. He always keeps his size really small. It's almost too small. But he is good at catching these things. I'll give him that. So I'll look for the pullback on this, and maybe jump in. You know, I'm sure you caught it, Cotter. I'm gonna set an alert down here, right at like 14. Let's see if I'll set an alert up here too. Let's see if it gets over 19. Set another alert down here. This is how I pay attention to this stuff. This is the lazy way to catch things. If you don't want to check it every day, because you know you have a life a bit. Can't just like. Okay, that's that one. I thought I'd make people aware. Too late to buy now though, obviously. Another one I watch sometimes is Celsius. Where's Celsius? Celsius is this drink company, but I'm not that bullish on it. You know, but it's had a slow, steady move higher. There's just a nice trend up, but not really exciting. I think I won't talk about it. Oh, you didn't catch Toby. Too bad. But it is interesting the effect of if you can tell anyone with a business that you have a social media account that has, you know, 300, 400, 500,000, a million followers. If you say you have that, people's eyes just go, boop, oh my God. And then suddenly they want to be your best friend. I've done experiments with this. I don't have this, obviously, but I've told people sometimes, like, hey, I know someone that has a following of 2 million followers. And then they want to be your best friend. It's fun. It's kind of fun to play that game. All right, let's talk about, speaking of manipulating people, let's talk about the most manipulative investment there is, crypto. Let's talk about crypto. Oh, but before we get to crypto, we're gonna look at DXY. So DXY recently had a 9. We finally got a little bit of a rally off the bottom. It's pausing as it should, unlike the stock market and everything else. We had a weekly 9 come in. We've got like a double bottom here, at least in RSI, not so much in price, but that's the point. And we should get a nice bounce here. Now, how much do we bounce? I don't know. I don't know. We could look at our 38.2 level. And we could say, okay, maybe we come up here, we come back to 100. 100's a big round number. Could bounce up to here, which would have a you know, a little bit of a effect on the market. The market might pull back a little bit, but not too much. As you can see, the dollar is bouncing, but the market's still going up. So just something to keep in mind. We do have this, but a 9 has caused a pause, but we should get more out of this. Which is going to cause a little bit of pressure, but it can't shut down that money printer. You're not gonna shut it down. Okay, so there's that. Let's go to crypto. Again, crypto's got big bull run money. You've got all of half of July and about half of August left. And I think around here, this area is where the public's gonna really start paying attention. We gotta wait until the media is really talking about it. Do you guys see, I mean, I don't watch traditional media, but does anyone see traditional media talking about crypto at all? From my understanding, they're not. There's nobody's talking about it. I mean, we are, but we talk about it every week, but like the normal world. Are they? Does anybody see anything out there? I don't think they are. I mean, we can check Google Trends, right? Google Trends. All right, trends, cryptocurrency, let's see. Not in Thailand, worldwide. Past 90 days. Oh, he's starting to spike. People are starting to get excited. Let's go back. Let's look at the past 12 months. Just starting. See this? We haven't even gotten anywhere close to 2024 levels. We want to see at least 2024 levels, right? And if I go back 5 years, I bet it's going to be nothing. Yeah, so that's 2025, a little bit, but this was 2021. This is just insanity. We want to at least see this. No, there's no end to this bull until you see something at least the 2024, 2025 levels. We can change the word to just like crypto, right? Same. It's just starting. Bitcoin. Yeah, see this? Nothing. It's nothing. You want to see this, like in 2024. This is what's going to happen. But right now, it's not. This is how you can... Wow, the highest interest place is El Salvador. Huh. Oh, Netherlands. If we go back to crypto, who's the most interested? Nigeria. Wow. Well, now you know where it's used the most. Nigeria. Or maybe that's just the place where they search for it in English. Maybe they have other words. Cryptocurrency trading is a breakout topic. Shiba Inu and Solana. I guess Shiba Inu mooned recently. Shiba Inu and SafeMoon. Who would think that those would come back? Oh, that's the past 5 years. Wait, let's look at the past 90 days. Yeah, it's the biggest in the past 90 days. We'll go to 12 months. Yeah, so here, this is more. This is what I want to see. Pi, Donald Trump, Crypto Week, Lumens, and then something about casinos. Envy, Nevada Casino. Maybe next top will be blow off, like 2021. Oh, every time you watch CNBC, yes, BTC every time. Okay, so they're talking about it. But people aren't looking it up. You see, it's not reflected. It's not reflected here. Custom time range. I want to go back like two years. How do I just go back to 2023? It's easy. Yeah, something like this. It's not even close. We'll make this a regular thing. I'll check this every week. We'll look at interest over time. But since this breakout, and I said this earlier, this was the breakout, right? We had classic bull flag, breakout. So normally once this breakout happens, the rally goes on for about 10 weeks, right? So here was the last time it happened. How much time did it take before it stopped? There's the breakout's basically here. You got to start from here. It's not here. This was the bottom, yes, but the breakout was pretty much here. How much time did you have? This one went for only 31 days. So this was the breakout here. And August 9th, that's 31 days. But B2 Money Supply says we go to September. I don't know about that, but the major rally will probably slow down by the end of this month. Maybe you get a little bit further, maybe you get 40 days. But historically, we can go back to here, right? So let's look at a couple other examples. This was the breakout right here, right? Well, you could say, actually, wait a second. Where's the breakout here? I'm going to get rid of the money supply. You guys get the picture with that. Something like this. So this is, you're on the other side here. And we could say the breakout. I would say it's here, but you could say it's here, right there. So if it's there, and we top at 61 days, it's 8 weeks. But if we go from like the actual major breakout, right, to here, it was basically 41 days, 30 days. and then you get a double top. You get another month. So you get your dump. You could rebuy one time, get that relief rally, and that's your exit, right? So that's the general time frame. We can keep going back. Let's do like 2 more. Let's keep looking back. Okay, here's another breakout. There's basically your breakout, and there's your top. 34 days. Are we seeing a pattern here? Let's go even further back. This was the big rally, right? You can see graphing it and charting. So this is a little bit different because this was the insanity. We could get this, right? So this could happen. I will be surprised, but it could. But you can see in general, when you get a breakout, you get about 25 to 30 days. And then you get a pullback. And then you get another breakout. And how long does that breakout happen? Again, so this one's 20 days. And then you get a big dump. And then you get another breakout. And they get shorter and shorter. So here, how much time did you have? You had 9 days before it majorly dumped again. And then it reversed, and then you had another breakout, and you kind of had like 15 days, 6 days. It was very short, but the initial ones are quite controlled. Both of them are 30 days before you get some kind of big pullback. Even here, right? So this is a bit of a breakout, and there's kind of your topping area, 33 days, 35 days. Oh, it's always, the big move is 30 days, and maybe it extends a little bit more. But so if we apply that to here, right? And I sometimes I think this stuff is way better and more useful than any kind of indicators. You could say this is an indicator. I could probably, you know, maybe I don't know how I would program this specifically, but I'm very tempted to make some kind of indicator that helps you understand when you should start exiting the position. Like, look, it's been 30 days. Time to start exiting things. Yeah, JP says next top will be blow off like 2021. I don't think it's going to be like 2021, but it could be. I mean, with the 9 trillion being unlocked in the 401ks, it might be, but I don't know. 2021 was weird. I don't know how you replicate that. That was a different world. I don't think it's going to be like that, but I understand what you're saying. So if we go to let's say average 30, you know, maybe we do 25. Let's be safe. Let's say 25 days. That means August 3rd. So how much time you got left? August, what did I say? August 3rd? I said, what did I say? Go back, let me go back. August 3rd, okay. So August 3rd. You got 16 days, 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks for the major rally. Maybe you got 3, 4 for a little bit extra. And then that's it. And then we're gonna be up here somewhere. I think that makes sense. It's a little bit more aggressive than I originally thought, but this is if we follow the historical trends, this is what seems to happen. Now, you do traditionally get 8 or 10 weeks from kind of the bottom. So that was the bottom, right? And if we apply 2 months to that, right, 60 days is 8 weeks. That would put us at the end of August. But from the time of a breakout, normally you get 30 days. So I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to say we're here. And it's August 3rd to August 9th. So I think to be conservative, once August starts, you want to, first of all, you want to cut down way on the leverage, and you want to start considering taking some profits on those longs. That would be my recommendation. If you want to be early. If you want to be late, you can keep holding and you can try to eke out, because it's going to do this, right? So it will do this, and then you get your, it's not a good color. You guys must have trouble seeing that. How do I change my color? What color I want? Yellow. Yellow is easy to see. All right. Damn, it went back to purple. Yellow. Okay. Something like this, right? You get a big final pump. and then you get like some kind of dump, and then you get some last thing like this. And that's like the 10-week mark, right? And that's when you exit. If you really want to eke out the top, try to get there. But I recommend once we're near here, you start to kind of scale out. 5% here, 5% here, and even here you scale out more. You keep scaling out. And on this pullback, if you think you're really great on lower time frames, you can take another long and you can try to scale out up here. That's the general thesis. I don't know if it's going to play, I don't know 100% if it's going to play out this way, but that, looking at all the other playbooks historically and assuming, you know, humans always kind of do the same thing. They're like, you know, we're all just monkeys and we just repeat things. But with AI involved and stuff, the big thing that worries me is now, look at Solana, by the way. Look at this. When we started, we were at like 179. Now we're at 182. It just wants to keep going up. And it's broke out from my uptrending channel. That's why it's just going completely parabolic. Look at that move. Gotta move out this channel. I don't even know how to make this fit in a channel. I'm just gonna get rid of the channel. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense on Bitcoin. If you guys want to look at some altcoins, we can. Solana, obviously, 220 is a level. You know, it's all just going to keep going up, regardless of the coin. We could spend all day looking at coins. We've got BTCD that's crashing, right? I talked about this for a while. I said rotate into alts. I'm all in alts, okay? But they're like blue chip alts. Something I bought a lot of recently was what was the name? Chainlink. Chainlink I bought a lot. It's paid very well. So I have a lot of that. I think we're gonna keep heading lower to this. You know, next stop is 60% right here, and then maybe you go lower to 59, and that maintains the uptrend. And eventually, and we'll probably bounce, and then eventually this uptrend has to break down, right? It should. It should. The point is, it should. The problem is that it depends on how much these 401ks are unlocked to buy. Because if they're only unlocked to buy like Bitcoin, then this is not going to break down. But if they're unlocked to buy things like Ethereum, Solana, all that stuff, then this will break down. And I do think they will be unlocked to do that. Check out others/BT. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's the same as, I don't see the difference between BTCD and that, but I can others/BTC. Yeah, obviously I looked at this before, seems. I think I didn't like looking at this because I didn't really get any numbers. I didn't like the lack of any kind of metrics given here. Why doesn't it show me anything? Reset price scale. Why can't I, maybe percent index to 100? We can index it to 100 if there's nothing. So we'll just index it to 100, okay? That makes it maybe easier. And I don't want to auto this. I want to be able, how do I move it? It doesn't let me move the scale. That's annoying. Why can't I do that? What am I doing wrong here? No, don't auto fit. Oh, if I do that, it auto fits it. That's why. Okay, we'll just leave it like this so I can. Well, let's look at this from a weekly chart. Look at that. So we had this uptrend and we broke. I mean, I guess, could you have? Yeah, okay, so there was your, going back to 2017. This would have been cool to look at. Where's the other? Okay, so let's go down. So actually it would have been, we're looking at just the kind of tails. It would have been like that. But this is more touch points. Look at that tag and reversal. It's huge. Huge since 2022. You just went straight down. And this was the tag. All right, see you, Cotter. Thank you for attending. So that was your big tag, and the question is, you know, can we reverse from here? It looks like we're bouncing, but there's been plenty of reversal indicators. I could go to a 2-week chart, maybe provides better. Still kind of shit. Maybe we go to a monthly. I don't like it. This looks like shit. We're not on the other side of this yet. According to this chart, things have not even gotten started. How much are we down from the highs? 78%. If we don't count that, it's like 75, yeah. Yeah, so looking at this, there's really no, where does it reverse? Where is it useful? I mean, this is a clear bouncing bottoming range, but I don't get huge indications of a reversal here, right? You'd have to be on the other side of this move up. That's the thing. It's pretty trash. I want to see these EMAs reverse. You can see it didn't take off till the EMAs really reversed. But for now, it's kind of garbage. Like, yeah, it's pumping, but it did that before, right? So this was 2024. This was your pump. And then in 2025, this was your pump. This was it, right? This was on the trends, right? So we looked at the trends. So this was your 2025 pump trend right here, right? January, apparently. January 2020. So you got your January 2025, and then you've got your March 2024. So this was, oh, that's weird. This says November to December 2024, and this gives you May 2025. Where's my January? January is here. Is that, what am I looking at? Is this not crypto? It is crypto. Ah, it's weirder it doesn't line up. Maybe because the crypto is just for Bitcoin. RSI flipped on the daily early July. Yeah, but it's flipped multiple times before. I'm trying to look for like a better metric that is useful on a longer time frame. Not we're going to flip for a little bit and then we're going to head lower. I mean, all this tells me is alts are not good to hold over time, and Bitcoin is way better. But I think everyone already knows that. So I tried looking into it. I kind of prefer BTCD, but I'll keep my eye on it. Appreciate the input and discussion. One that I talk to AI a lot about this stuff and the Genius Act being approved and stuff. One of the big ones it seemed to really like was ENA, and you can see how ENA has just been pumping like crazy. I mean, everything's pumping, right? So this isn't mind-blowing, but it's already kind of reached the target, right? So I bought more back here at like 30 cents, and now it's at around 40 cents. But what we really need to see is this, right? So this has to be kind of your range and your W, and it helps if you look at it from a weekly chart. And this is the move. This is like what everyone's hoping for. I don't know if this is going to happen. That's my concern, because with the time frame I'm looking at, a lot of this stuff tops out around here, maybe a little bit higher, and that's it. And perhaps that is the playbook for now. And then something happens in the future and they'll go way higher. But this is my like conservative approach, where in 3 or 4 weeks, 2 weeks actually, from what we looked at with Bitcoin, this is, you know, it's the beginning of the end. But that's depressing from a, you know, I want my coins to pump standpoint, right? We can overlay, you know, maybe we do something like this. So this was the pump before. We could overlay Bitcoin, add how do I add, I always forget how to do this. I wanna, oh, plus. Okay, BTC USDT. Let's add Bitcoin and we'll give it its own pin to scale B. You know, and then we can see the time difference, like where, how much are they off by? Okay, so you can see here, right? Bitcoin kept pumping. So by Bitcoin kind of stopped pumping here on November 22nd. And then ENA finally pumped by December 7th. So that gives you, what, 2 weeks? It's a 2-week difference. So whenever Bitcoin stops pumping, these altcoins have like 2 more weeks. You have 2 weeks to rotate in. And I think everyone kind of knows that. And then it's the reverse in the other direction, right? So Bitcoin didn't drop yet, but ENA did, where you kind of dropped. So here is when you dropped for ENA. That was your big drop, January 28th. Well, we could say like your top was January 23rd, but Bitcoin's drop was January 30th. So you get in the other direction, it's like a week before they start to move lower. So these are all things to keep in mind. Bitcoin's pumping now, but Bitcoin's still pumping. So once Bitcoin kind of tops out, which is, you know, we talked about that, your time frame here, and beginning of August, you start to exit your Bitcoin positions, but then you've got 2 more weeks for altcoins. 1 to 2 weeks. That's it. For the altcoins to pump more. They'll keep pumping while Bitcoin stabilizes. And then that's all you've got. And you kind of have to exit things. And you will get for 30 days, you're going to get the back and forth. And this is actually the most dangerous. This is the most dangerous time, these 28 days. Once we top, you can kind of play with this, but just know that you're playing with fire. And that's instead of trying to catch another long, what you should do is you should start saying, okay, I'm going to look for shorts. That's what I think you want to do. Okay, that's one coin I'm kind of watching. Get rid of. I deleted the Bitcoin. Why is it still showing the? Yeah, I deleted this. Why is it still showing that? Others index I think is a good way to just kind of look at things and say, okay, where's the general market going? I think that's an easy metric to go off of, and I'll just keep expanding this parallel channel. At some point we will, I think, break out of this channel. I don't think it's going to last forever, but for now it's useful. Okay, like this. Big target is up here, 335. And if we continue with the current slope, current slope, the earliest it says is July 23rd. Yeah, it's really it's pretty fast to hit this level that I'm targeting. July 23rd. The slowest would be the end of July. Not a lot of time. I'm gonna go back to this lower time frame. Just adjust it. Keep yeah, like that. I think is pretty good. And so then our accurate is July 23rd to July 26th. We'll probably get there faster. These have a habit of things break out and happen faster than these channels end up showing. Pretty good trading though here, back and forth. Definitely not the straight up. What is your target for ENA? I think I just said it. It was, the target is around 40 cents, right? So I talked about that for in the short term, right? Everything's about time frame. So he's breaking out, everything's breaking out. So here in the short term, also, I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. Get rid of that. It's a bit confusing. I have a bunch of levels here I'm gonna get rid of. We're gonna clean this up, make this a little bit less confusing. So this 1.618 is like the first touch point, right? And then we've got a bunch more after that. So once we hit this, which could be the end of July, somewhere around there, we're going to get a pullback. That's going to be your first big pullback. And then you're going to move up more. And as I showed before, 9 EMA is your friend. Once you get a pullback in the 9 EMA tagged, that's where you start scaling in if you're not in. Have we had even one 9 EMA pullback? They must be listening to the stream because there's no 9 EMA pullbacks. It doesn't seem to happen. That's interesting to me. No 9 EMA pullbacks, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So let's make it, you know, accurate. Something like this, right? Before the end of July, then you get a dump, and then you get a push through, and you're going to quickly go up here, and then you get another dump, and then you're going to pump up here before September. And that's possibly it. It could happen that fast. I can't believe it, but it could. We can look at the previous time frame, right? So here's 2024, and that was 30 days. Right? Again, 30 days. Here's this. 30 days is August 10th. So my time frame is actually too slow. Yeah, I can look at them, Dan. We could go here, right? So this is also 30 days. This is more of a slower breakout, but you could look at it like mini ones. Like here's the first one, right? So there's kind of your breakout, 27 days, and then you get the second. You had a consolidation for probably we topped and consolidated for 2 weeks, and then you had your next pump. And from when that started, it was about 23 days. But if you waited 30 days, you still would have gotten out ahead. And then here again, right? This was, as I said, 30 days. Yeah. So everything's really 30 days. 30 days is easier to remember. Now people are saying we're going to get like a 2021 type thing. Okay, let's say we do. This is your breakout. And this is around 30 days. And you can see how we consolidated. You did get a big pump at 45 days. And then we go here. And where's the next breakout? I would say the next breakout is basically here. And then what is 30 days? 30 days is here. Okay, and then you exited. And then you had this big drawdown. And then another breakout. But this one, you didn't get 30 days. You just got 20. So if we get something like this, like a 2021, understand that there is this cycle, but it gets shorter as the mania increases. All right, so this is public mania here. This is where it starts to get crazy all the way up here, and this is where the cycles get shorter. Hopefully that makes sense, and you can see how volatile each of these moves were. So every day, what was your range? Keep in mind this kind of range. It's a 10% range every day. So you could theoretically a 15% range. Is it 15%? Some days it was 20% range. Look at that range. Yeah. I would assume a 20%, a 15 to 20% range on these. Look at that. That's nuts. Looking at this other chart, the range was just so big. And I wish I could show some kind of 4.618 metric, but it doesn't really work unless maybe I make a log scale. Even then, it's not great. You could say this was kind of your W right here. This was your big W move. Maybe we go to like a 3-day chart, and then you can see the whole move in a log scale. Let's see how this plays out. Yeah, you can see 1.618 tag, 2.618, 4.669. And if we extend it, yeah, see how they kind of line up? 8.77, 16.88, and that's finally basically where we topped out. I don't think we got to the 32. Yeah, we didn't tag that one, right? That was the last one up there. So, you know, now you had this giant range and this big breakout. I'm gonna close this. And this is kind of your W, and we already mapped it, and that's your rally size. It's very small in comparison to 2021. Like, I would not be expecting this. I think, hello from Romania. Don't expect this. I think you can expect something like this. But you can still see how small the move's been in comparison. Okay. You wanted to look at ICP. We'll look at ICP. I'll look at that one quickly. ICP. I mean, to be honest, man, it looks like everything else. Like, that's it, and then you're targeting like 12 bucks. It's in a downtrend, right, on a weekly chart. It needs to break out on the upside for this, but it's going to average some resistance there. It's going to hit the 200-week moving average. On a daily, yeah, it looks good, and you probably can get this breakout, but it's just a double. It's not, for crypto, that's not that much, right? So just keep that in mind. Okay, that's all I've got, guys. I think that was a pretty good show. Hopefully, you know, maybe give me some feedback on if you like this time better. I'm definitely more awake than I am when we do the nighttime ones, and the background is nice. So let me know. And yeah, don't short. Do not short. Shorting is banned for the next 1 month, okay? Don't do it unless you hate yourself and you just love losing money. Just don't do it, okay? Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you on the site. And if I don't see you on the site, then I'll see you here. Same time, same place. Well, maybe a different time. I'm not that good with the exact timing, right? See you here next week, regardless. And look in the Discord for the free summary where basically I break down all my targets and everything that we talked about in the show. And then you don't have to watch the show. Like, I know everybody here watched, so thank you. But if you have friends or anything, you can always